David Stark from WatcherPass.com, your website for movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Today I'm joined by Erin Sanders, who plays Tonya in the all-new horror film, The Call. We're going to talk to Erin in just a second, but first let's check out that trailer. And while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe, that'd be awesome. It helps me out a lot. Thank you.
Hello, David.
Hi, Erin. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining me. I know you're probably very busy promoting this film.
I am doing a handful of interviews today. I'll just say that.
You must have a lot of fingers. And also, you know, I'm impressed with how brave you are doing this interview over the phone. I feel like if this movie taught you anything, it taught us anything, it's that we should avoid the situation. So kudos to that.
That is hilarious. Well, at least I'm not on a landline. I will forever have a fear of landlines, especially rotary phones.
Yeah, there is something inherently scary about that situation in our current world, right? Like just the idea of a landline is just so foreign now.
I know, right? I remember my grandma had a rotary phone growing up my whole life, and I actually used it, and I thought it was really fun and nostalgic.
I also had a rotary phone. I loved it, and until you made that one mistake, and they're like, "Oh man," or
right, exactly. You're like, "God damn it!"
Yeah, or if your friend had like
the
9s in their number.
Getting it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. There's a satisfaction in getting it right, and we don't have any of that satisfaction now. We just push a single button on a person's picture, and it calls them.
Yeah, I know like 3 numbers now, and then otherwise it's just like
exactly
a person's picture. Yep.
Totally. I have my mom's phone number memorized, and that's just about it.
I have my parents' landline memorized. I don't know their cell phone, so hey, there you go. I'm a little throwback, I guess.
My parents are fully in the century. They don't have landlines anymore. It's all cell phones.
That's impressive. That is very impressive. Kudos to your parents for being modern and technologically advanced.
I'll pass the kudos along.
Excellent. So we're talking about The Call. It releases on video on demand this Friday, which is perfect for a Halloween that I think a lot of people are thinking isn't going to happen, or trick or treating is canceled, or maybe people are hesitant to do that. So this is kind of a way that you can enjoy some Halloween scares on Halloween night from the comfort of your home.
Exactly. I'm so excited that the VOD is coming out just in time for Halloween. That was my biggest goal in terms of the release of this film. I know everyone's staying in and still looking to feel celebratory. If you can, buy some candy, sit around with your popcorn, dim the lights, watch The Call, be scared, have a good time.
Yep. No, that sounds like the perfect Halloween. So I noticed a lot of your roles are, I guess more family friendly, family focused. Was there something that drew you to this horror role? Is horror something you've always kind of been interested in?
I love great horror films, and my favorite have a psychological component to them where we understand the emotional journey that took our protagonist and antagonist to this point. So there's not just, a faceless, nameless baddie lurking in the corners. We understand why they're scary, why they do the things they do, and there is tons of that in this film. We understand why Lin Shaye and Tobin Bell's characters got to the place where they are, and we also understand why Tonya and her other friends have this looming guilt that haunts them for various reasons that has led them to this point of desperation, and where they really are susceptible to being influenced to lead themselves voluntarily into really compromising positions.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely appreciated the characters. They kind of seemed, almost like high school movie tropes at the start, but then as you're watching the film, you get more insights into what they're doing, and I think that was an interesting aspect. It made me kind of, want to rewatch it so I could see some of the tells with that context in mind.
I love that. I love that you mentioned that. Yeah, because I think there is a self-awareness and a humor to the film that we are playing into these classic high school archetypes, as you said, and we're aware that we're doing that, and we're hooking you in this fun, familiar way, and then turning the tables on you.
Yep. And part of the way that you play into that is the costumes, the music, this high school setting. It was amazing. I love the 80s, late 80s, early 90s vibe that was going on. Was it fun to kind of play both a different character and then also a character from a different era? There were some really great, classic kind of movie scenes with you blowing the bubble out or blowing your bubble gum, and some of the principal interactions were kind of right out of some sort of 80s teen classic. So
felt the exact same way. It really is a love letter to classic 80s horror films, and creating these moments that feel iconic is really special, and we were aware in the moment that it felt that way, and I'm so glad that it's represented that way and that it comes across to you as a viewer. We had so much fun with the hair and makeup, and as an actor, it really helps me dive deep into that character's reality, because everything around me looks and sounds different, and when I look in the mirror, I don't see Erin, I see this other person that looks nothing like how I usually look. If I get close enough to the mirror, I can see the same features, but I was really struck by watching myself on screen, and that doesn't sound like Erin, it doesn't look like Erin, and that means I did my job well, and that means everyone involved did their job well, and I'm so thrilled with the end result.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I guess you mentioned doing your hair. Is that the first time that you've had a perm? I assume maybe you had one growing up. I don't know what your childhood was like.
No perms growing up. Ching, our hair and makeup, she used a crimper on my hair for those scenes. And then in others where I had those tight ringlets, she used the skinniest little curling iron I've ever seen. I've definitely gotten to play with some fun hair and makeup throughout my career, though. I've played some other period pieces where I had hair and makeup and wardrobe like I was in the 1800s. And on some of my Nickelodeon series, I was on a couple series on there. We just got to go real crazy with the hair and makeup and have fun colors and styles and tying beads and braids into our hair and dressing up in lots of wacky characters. So I'm lucky in the sense that I've had a lot of unusual hair and makeup and wardrobe throughout my career.
Yeah, I think your point about it helps you fully transform into that character is a perfect one. It really does kind of help you just, physically and emotionally kind of connect with the character that you're performing. So it's a really interesting point that also sounds like fun.
It is so much fun and helps me detach from injecting too much of myself into it. I mean, in some ways it's interesting to watch an actor you love on screen and feel them come through. And also, I love watching actors who are total chameleons, where I don't really know who the hell they are as a person, because they're always someone so distinct and different on camera.
Yeah, I can imagine that's got to be interesting, meeting someone that you've only seen through their personas. That must have been an interesting, experience.
It is interesting, and I like, for the most part, being one of those people, to the best of my ability. I like being really different every time I'm on screen. It's a lot more interesting to me than just being myself every day. I like acting because I get to be other people.
No, definitely. And, some of the actors that I was really impressed with this film was, you were working with Lin Shaye and Tobin, Bell. What was it like, working with them? I love Lin in the Insidious movies, and it was kind of fun to see her, in a different horror film and also with a different twist to her character. So what was it like working with them?
It was so fun and exciting working with them. I know Lin, for the most part, has played a scream queen, and now at this point in her life, she's getting to turn the tables on the roles that she's been classically known for, and she gets to really dig into the other side, and it feels exciting for me to be a part of that with her in any small way, because while she has a long career in horror films, this is a fairly new development for her, and to be involved in anything new and exciting in another actor's career feels really special. And she and I had some one-on-one scenes that were very emotionally charged and emotionally focused, and she's great at locking in on her fellow actors in a scene, and together we created this world that we both lived in for the time of those scenes' creation. And we both really stuck to the emotional intensity and arc that we were creating. We got to build upon it together, take to take. And really lean into what could be different in each take, not because we were trying to strategize, but just because when you're living in that emotional world, it's alive, so it changes and evolves each take, and because we were in it together, we got to go on that journey together.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Also sounds, kind of, draining. I mean, it seems like you're embodying these characters, and there's some pretty heavy subject matter in this film. So, hats off to you to be having such a great experience.
It can be emotionally exhausting. I'm not saying that to be like, woe is me. Obviously, I'm in a huge point of privilege to get to do this for work. It's awesome. And also it's exhausting, and we all come together and work long hours and long days and up until the middle of the night, emoting our deepest, darkest feelings to be captured on the screen. So it's definitely an unusual and tiring experience, and feels like you're sprinting to the finish at times. But we're all in it together, and we know exactly what we're getting in for. That's pretty normal for experience on a film or a TV set.
Yeah, definitely. And I like that you mentioned that Lin gets to play kind of a different role. I think in my review I wrote that she plays, a role that's a little more insidious than even the namesake, movie that made her famous. So it's I really liked that aspect of it.
I like that as well. And it's really fun for a woman to get to turn the tables in terms of the characters that she plays, because I feel like as a woman in film, it's really easy to be pegged in these more kind of puritanical victimhood type characters, especially in regards to horror. And so the fact that she gets to change things up and change the way she's viewed by her fans is really special.
And you too as well. I mean, hats off to you for branching out from, a role that I think is probably not what a lot of your fans would expect. So it's great for you to be able to kind of stretch your chops and explore these other areas that you clearly have an interest in.
I agree. I was really excited about that as well. And thank you for the recognition. I really appreciate it. I didn't tell anyone the twist, even people close to me. I won't say it here, obviously, but when the film ended, all of my friends definitely were reaching out to me like, wait, I didn't see that movie.
That must have been fun.
It was so fun, and it was so gratifying to know that even people close to you were like, wait a minute.
So I know we have limited time, so I just want to move into, I call it the lightning round. It's just, quick questions that kind of relate to the movie, kind of relate to your character. You can feel free to pass on any of them if you don't want to answer, although I try to make them very answerable questions. Cool. In high school, were you popular or a misfit?
I would argue not popular, though I think some people would tell me that I'm wrong, but my impression is that I was just a total nerd.
Well, this is your interview, so we'll go with that. What is the
I guess I was like a well-liked nerd, but I definitely felt that people observed me and perceived me as a nerd.
Well, you know what? That's perfectly fine. I think that nerds, that when they get out of their shell, they tend to have, interesting lives, so.
Well, thank you very much. As a self-proclaimed nerd, I appreciate the vote of confidence.
I'd like to think I was also a nerd, so it's a little self-fulfilling for me. A little self-promotional.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, advocate for yourself.
What is the strangest phone call you had to make or receive?
The strangest phone call I've had to make or receive?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had a great answer for this. I feel like the weirdest phone calls I've gotten are just not that interesting. There's this one property that I keep getting phone calls and texts about, and I don't know how my number got on this call list. And I keep getting calls and texts addressing me as a different name every time, asking if I'm willing to sell this property that I don't own. I get calls calling me Rami. I get calls calling me David, all asking about this same property on Wilkinson Avenue, like don't own. And every time I say I don't own this property and that's not my name, take me off the list, and then I block that number. And then a few weeks later, I get another call with the same property calling me a different name from a different number. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Maybe you own it. I mean, go check it out, I guess.
Oh my God. How can you imagine?
Surprise.
Some old relative. Wait, is this the setup for my next horror film? some old relative living in another country that I don't know died and left me this house, and I get enough calls, and then I go and visit the home, and then as soon as I step inside, it locks, and I'm like transported to another dimension.
And surprise twist, all the names that were calling you were actually like ghosts in the house. I would watch that film. I would totally watch that film.
Anybody listening to / reading this interview, this is my idea, and you're not allowed to take it and run with it.
Do you have
2020? Erin
There we
Sanders.
go. There we go. It's recorded, so it's airtight.
Yeah, exactly. That's how legal things work.
Do you have a treasured childhood heirloom?
Yeah, I have a keepsake box with things that I've saved from when I was young, and it has just a variety of things, old jewelry from my grandma, old letters and cards from my parents, old pictures, this carved heart that my dad made for me out of wood. I should have specified that he carved it out of wood. It sounded like I was saying he carved a heart, which is really creepy. But,
I mean, it's a horror film, so we could...
My dad yeah, it does. It just totally sounds like another horror film thing. I should have just run with it. But my dad used to do luxury woodworking and just create the most beautiful pieces. And when he was a little kid, he made this really sweet little heart that he stained red, and I have that, and that's definitely a prized possession of mine from my childhood.
That sounds lovely. I also like to set up for this new film, like the Telltale heirloom box or something like that. I'm sure we could. I think your entire life is just, potential horror films. So.
Wow, my life has been leading up to horror until this very moment. I didn't know. Thank you for letting me know. Now I'm going to have to rethink all of my memories. And
now that you and Lin have been in scenes together, she's going to pass the Scream Queen mantle on to you. So now you are the new Scream Queen.
Wow, I'm honored. I'm going to have to call her up and we'll collaborate on these.
Perfect. Did your neighborhood have the quote unquote like the creepy house, the old house, whatever you want to call it?
My neighborhood growing up didn't, but I will not forget this one time about a year ago, a couple of years ago perhaps, and my boyfriend and I were walking around my neighborhood just identifying each of the houses that gave us kind of a creepy vibe or just like sent chills up our spine and not overthinking it too much, kind of like just a lightning gut decision. It was a really fun, weird thing to do, and I recommend doing it, walking around your neighborhood and just observing each home and saying what feeling that home gives you and why. That sounds like another type of Halloween activity you could do. Maybe after you watch the call, go kind of walk around your neighborhood and don't trick or treat, but get an idea of where the scary houses are. Wear your mask and be safe and walk around and look at the homes and be like, that home, definitely someone lives there who eats children. You're like, oh, that home, you get a call from that home in the middle of the night. You don't want to pick up that phone. Definitely. So just a couple more quick questions. I know we're running out of time. What's your?
You have about 1 minute left.
Okay.
If you could just do one more, that'd be great.
Definitely. So I saw on your Twitter, Instagram that you have some pretty epic Halloween costumes. And I know that this year might be a little different, but what are you going for as Halloween, or what are you going up to Halloween as?
I love that you asked that, and I don't have anything interesting planned this year because with quarantine, it seems like too much, I have a couple friends who were in our little safe pod, and we're doing a murder mystery. It's like me and 6 friends, and we're doing a murder mystery. We bought a murder mystery at the disco game, and we're all dressing up like 70s style, but it's not as interesting or iconic as my prior costumes. Last year, my partner and I dressed up as Fleabag and Hot Priest from Fleabag, which I am so obsessed with that costume. I loved it. It's one of my favorites I've ever done. And prior years, I dressed up as Eleven from Stranger Things. I dressed up as the main character from Ex Machina, complete with a silver bald cap, which I painted myself. Awesome. Dressed up as Elizabeth Salander from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and I even cut the mohawk myself and did the bleached eyebrows and like fake gauge ears. I normally go all in, and this is the first year in like 10 years that I'm not doing it. So I'm actually a little sad about it. but thank you for asking.
Well, I love the Big Little Lies costume, and it sounds like, I mean, a murder mystery Zoom is a pretty epic Halloween, and another horror film that you could make. I mean, when you realize that it's actually happening,
not a bad idea. But yeah, murder mystery is a very like Zoomable activity that you can do. So I recommend other people do that, and also watch The Call, and there are your Halloween activities. And there you go.
There we go. Well, that sounds like a perfect Halloween, and thank you so much for joining me. It's been a blast, and The Call comes out right before Halloween on October 30th, and it will be on demand and digital. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for chatting.
All right. Take care.
You too.
That was Erin Sanders, who plays Tonya in the all-new horror film The Call. It comes out October 30th, so you can check it out during your Halloween when we're not trick-or-treating or going outside. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot to make sure all my new videos go straight to you. And as always, please go to watchyourpast.com for all your movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Thank you.